Welcome to Cricket World TV Hotspot, the final show of the World Cup. I'm John Pennington, I'm in the UK, and I'm joined for one last time by Chetan Narula in Melbourne, where the final, of course, was yesterday. Hello, Chetan.
Hello, John, and welcome to our viewers one last time from Melbourne. Yes, it is the last hotspot because tomorrow I'm flying home and the World Cup's over, the Australian tour's over. It's been a long ride, and yeah, the final yesterday, Australia deserved champion fifth time. They were the best team when the tournament started. They were the best team when the tournament ended, and I think that's the simplest way you can put it.
Yes, I completely agree with you there, Chetan. We'll maybe sort of pick out some of the key moments from the final before, as you were there among the record sort of 93,000 people. Just give us an overview of the final for us.
Well, the final was, it was between two sides which had played a league stage game at a smaller crowd, but again, during that particular match we had seen it came down to two sides which had very good bowling attacks, perhaps the best bowling attacks in the competition. You had Trent Boult leading the side for New Zealand, and you had Mitchell Starc leading the side for Australia. So again, it was going to be a battle of bowlers. Remember the last time, obviously, Australia were bowled out to 112. Again, between the bowlers, whose batsmen were going to do better against which side. You need to cue those plans nicely. In that sense, I thought New Zealand didn't really come up with the goods, especially Brendon McCullum. Listen, he said after the post-match, no regrets, everything's fine. He wants to congratulate Australia, praise his teammates. That's all very fine. 10 years down the line, when he's retired and he's had no World Cup medals in his cabinet, I want to ask a question to him: does he regret that moment? And this, works. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It didn't work. Tough way of doing it was play a few deliveries, make Mitchell Starc think, get him out, work. Then Australia would have to plan some new methods to get him out, and perhaps New Zealand would have done better, but didn't really work that way. And I think I'm not saying that let's blame Brendon McCullum, but the way he batted, yeah, absolute. It was awful to watch. It was not the best thing for the New Zealand side. They were completely dependent on the start, and once he was gone, and Australia were on the rise, and then you had Guptill gone and Kane Williamson gone. They were all over the place. So that was the deciding moment of the match. Yes, he was the captain. He should have been responsible. He should have been held responsible. I spoke to a New Zealand journalist, and I asked, should McCullum be chastised for what he's done or the way he's played? They said no. They expected him to play like that. Yes, there's an expectation, and you play like that. There's an aggression. You need to build up to it. But who says you cannot be aggressive after you play 50 balls? Brendon McCullum needed to step up on that day. He did not. According to me, he did not. He was solely responsible for the way New Zealand lost the final of the World Cup. He was solely responsible for the way it turned out to be a one-sided affair.
I suppose the counter-argument, Chetan, is that they continue to play the brand of cricket that got them to the final. But I take your point, because against Australia, a better side than they'd faced up until that point in Australia, then I can see that maybe a tailored strategy might well have been required. Obviously, Australia coming out to bat is a modest target. If New Zealand didn't get early wickets, it was pretty much game over. And although they got one, they got rid of Aaron Finch. It really was a bit of a cakewalk for Australia afterwards.
Absolutely. I think for Australia, the key thing was to not lose early wickets, not be 50 down for 3, 40 down for 3, and give them that. What needed something what New Zealand had done in Auckland. And then Brendon McCullum had just come out firing and got some runs, and they got off to a quick start. Obviously, they lost a few wickets after that, but and start ball really well. So that's what Australia wanted to replicate. And David Warner, he played a lesser cameo than what McCullum had played in Auckland. So he got them to that flyer, and after that it was just, um, you know, uh, it was a question of one person holding up one end and another attacking from there on. And Steve Smith is in such brilliant form, and he was like, he put his hand up. Listen, I'm not gonna play any attacking shots. I am going to be there till the end. That's where he stepped up, and that allowed Michael Clarke to come and play an uncharacteristic innings, 72 balls, 74 runs. It allowed Michael Clarke to enjoy his last innings in ODI cricket. Um, Australia were never in trouble after that. Once Steve Smith assumed control, and that's what you wanted from a New Zealand batsman, especially a top order batsman. And again, I have to go back to McCullum. Yes, I specific brand of cricket, and they wanted to continue. If I were to choose between a particular brand of cricket, World Cup winners medal, I would be very miserable for what I did. And perhaps that's the difference between me, that I'm sitting here and talking about it, and he's out there playing. But to be very honest, I don't see it. I don't buy it. It was, yeah. I just can't agree with what Brendon McCullum did.
Fair enough. Michael Clarke, you briefly mentioned him there, of course, announced his retirement from ODI cricket the day before the final. I know some people sort of criticised the timing of that decision, but it all worked out perfectly in the end because, of course, he came out, got some runs, almost took Australia home, but in a way, he got himself a second ovation, which the crowd no doubt got a chance to really sort of give him an ovation as he left the field, and obviously lift the World Cup at the end. So a fitting farewell for a man who really has led his country superbly on and off the field this summer.
Absolutely. You're right. I think there were two ways to look at this announcement. Maybe it could have taken focus away, but then Australia are just so professional at their sport, at their cricket. I mean, it wasn't going to distract them. If ever, it was going to even motivate them. Probably give Michael Clarke even more focus, and that's the differentiator between the two captains, because Michael Clarke, and he said he didn't want to retire after the World Cup victory because that would have taken the spotlight away from the team, and he's right. Today it's been all about the Australian team. Yesterday it was all about the Australian team. So in a way, they have, in a way, he calculated the move very, very easily, and he took the right decision. Obviously, I firmly believe that if the World Cup was not held in Australia, New Zealand, Michael Clarke would not have been selected in the first place. It was because he's been such a magnificent leader for Australian cricket, especially this past summer. It's been a tough summer for him, for all of Australian cricket. I mean, they remembered Phil Hughes yesterday as well, and today as well. So it's been a tough summer. Michael Clarke is never letting go of that fact. So it's been a tough summer, and he's been an exceptional leader. I've had immense respect for him as a cricketer after this summer, being up close and personal to see him the way he's led his team, his country, Australian cricket in a tragic time. Yeah, he's a champion. He's a champion leader.
Now, we were having a few little technical issues there.